There's been such a drive to move people off WhatsApp and onto other services like Signal, and it is contingent somewhat on changes to the WhatsApp app. Well, to explore that, we have Natasha Gillizo from the Australian Financial Review, and we have Josh Taylor from The Guardian. All right. And if you keep saying WhatsApp app 10 times fast, I'm pretty sure Zuckerberg magically appears. So what exactly are the changes that are coming through, Natasha?
So the changes have been touted for months, but basically WhatsApp is changing its sort of privacy and user agreements so that not all of the messages that are sent will be end-to-end encrypted, only personal conversations, but any chats that you might have with businesses on the app won't be end-to-end encrypted, which means that those businesses, but also WhatsApp itself, can access that data, consolidate it, use it, analyze it for targeting ad purposes, all the normal stuff that they do on their other apps, from Insta to Facey, etc.
Josh, who on earth is WhatsApping a business?
If you look at how businesses communicate with people now, they expect them to be on Facebook. They expect them to have some sort of communications avenue. So it makes sense that they would use something like WhatsApp to potentially talk to their customers. Whether it actually takes off, I'm not 100% sure. I think we'll need to see how that goes. But it's just sort of the long line of Facebook buying out a company, stressing to people when they buy out the company, no, we'll keep them completely separate entities. It's going to be all fine. It's going to be a separate company. And then, a couple of months or a couple of years in this case later, saying, well, actually, we're going to start sharing data with Facebook and things like that. So I think it feeds into the relatively high anti-Facebook public sentiment at the moment, in particular around a lot of the antitrust issues in the United States in terms of just the size of Facebook and Google and things like that. So I think a lot of the concern about what Facebook is doing with WhatsApp sort of feeds into that a lot.
Do you think it will materially change the user experience of WhatsApp users? No?
I don't think it'll materially change the user experience, because at the same time you will have to elect whether or not to, if you want to message a business and engage with the app. I mean, I spoke to some friends about it this week and I was like, what do you think? And they're like, no, not WhatsApp, the last bastion of like protected whatever. But then a lot of them kind of conceded that they could see themselves ordering pizza via WhatsApp within like 2 weeks. So from an advertiser perspective, I was at a conference the other week, and how they think about this is they call our personal messages dark social, and they're obsessed with how can we get on dark social? How can we get in people's conversations? So what we share over iMessage, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger is kind of like the last treasure trove of secret private information that advertisers are desperate to knock down that door and get in. So they're going to be very excited about these changes.
The conversation at the moment is just being dominated by a general, understandable, like anti-Facebook sentiment, and how much of it is actually going to have, I think, a material impact on people's privacy moving forward, Josh, do you think?
Well, I know so many people who've quit Facebook but keep Messenger, for example, because they need that connection to all their friends and things like that. So when you're in their ecosystem, it's really hard to quit it. And I think that, Facebook might be a little bit concerned. They've done a lot of marketing around the changes to WhatsApp, but I think in the long run, I don't think it'll have a huge impact.
I think that they haven't been too worried about material impacts, but also they've got a few shots left to fire against other companies, against other messaging apps, like with this back and forth with Telegram on Twitter last week demonstrates. So they're like, we know how you work, and if you want to talk about what you can and can't do for your users, we'll share that with the public.
Josh, what do you reckon the ultimate goal is here with WhatsApp? Like, what's the ecosystem they're trying to build for their users?
You can see with Facebook that there is a shift away from people using it, particularly like younger generations who default more to sort of group chats and Instagram and things like that. So if they feel like people aren't engaging with businesses on Facebook, that will be a downturn in advertising for them. But if they can start getting people to engage with businesses through WhatsApp or Instagram or things like that, then that is another revenue source for them. So I think it's just about keeping eyeballs on their apps more than anything else.
There is lots more of this in the podcast of Download This Show. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks so much.